Hey, how's it going? I want to make a video talking about my old projects as a game developer, as I've done quite a few over the years, from like the prototypes and stuff that got me into game development to some that are a little more expansive. So I thought it'd be a pretty interesting journey to take a look back at them and reflect on those projects. So during my childhood, I used to play a lot of games. Back then it was on the Nintendo DS, but a lot of those games were the ones that I really enjoyed to play were, the Nintendo ones. I was really into Pokemon, Mario, but the one that really got me interested was Kirby. I really liked playing Kirby Superstar Ultra, and the cool thing about that one was they had a bunch of different mini games within the big game. So they were all you were playing a bunch of games within one. But when I finished the game, it was I wanted more Kirby games. So the idea that got me into game development was trying to I wanted to make my own Kirby game, so I didn't have to stop playing. I could just play new levels and they'd be my levels, so I thought that'd be pretty cool. Only I didn't really know how to do that, so the thing that I started with was a really old, I don't remember the exact one because I was really young, so I didn't record any of it or keep any of them. But I got into Game Maker that way, so I ended up downloading it. I don't even remember how I figured it out or downloaded it. But so when I started that project, I thought it would be you could just I would draw out stuff for Kirby levels, but I thought it could be like that or something cool like that. But it was way too complicated for me. I was trying to look at some of the other projects, because you could see I think at that time you could see what people did. So I saw this Pac-Man game that people were doing, so I was like, oh, maybe I can make a Pac-Man game. Pac-Man's an old game, I can make it, but turns out I couldn't make it. I struggled. I think I got a sprite in there, but not even the PNGs were the backgrounds thing. It was one with the white box in the background, and I think I might have gotten it to move. Probably not, but that was probably it for me. I didn't know any code. I didn't know any fancy stuff like that. So very quickly after that, my game development journey ended. So that was my very first project. Then the second thing I got to do was I got reintroduced to game development during high school. We had a bunch of different courses in high school that honestly were pretty easy, which is why I took them. So there was one web development where you got to do a cool website and stuff. I did one on, I'm a soccer fan, so I did on Barcelona. But it wasn't that complicated. It was very introductory, so you did a very simple thing, and I don't remember how to do it, but it was very simple, and then you just put images in it and text and stuff. So I was like, oh, this is Messi and stuff. But another course that I heard my friends told me were pretty easy was this game development course. It was the intro to game development. I thought it was pretty interesting. It rediscovered what I liked about. I still played games at the time, but I didn't really have that interest of making them. I just kind of sometimes I would draw on paper stuff for Kirby, or at the time I was really interested in both Metal Gear Rising and Assassin's Creed. So I thought, oh man, a cool sequel to Metal Gear Rising would be if it was expansive Assassin's Creed and you got to collect a bunch of stuff. Pretty much just combining the games I liked together and drawing them on paper and stuff. But this intro to game development course got me into designing games and trying to do it on the computer again. And I remember we did a couple small projects. I don't know where to get them, because again, it was my school, so I didn't really know how to access that. I think I had a school email at the time, but I don't remember any of that stuff. But we did a Galaga game that was a little shooter, and we had 3 healths and stuff. I don't even remember what we did it on, but we did it there. And I remember specifically we did an introduction to code game. It was a Code Academy game where you got this sword and you could use the code to defeat enemies and progress. I remember really liking that stuff, but it wasn't really anything I was thinking too much in. And again, after that class, it was pretty easy because we did one project in the year. But after that, my game development journey was over again. I never did it again, but then I got reintroduced to game development actually during the pandemic. So when I went to college, I did engineering for a little bit, and my idea was to kind of try to do games. It was kind of apps and games. I wanted to do code so I can create stuff because I thought that was cool. But that first semester, it was tough. So I struggled a lot. So I was like, oh, well, I'm not going to be able to be a coder. So then I did some business engineering one. So I got like reintroduced to code during that, and that second time I think it's because you take the classes, it gets like a little more easy than your very first one. So it was a little more manageable. I was able to do the codes and stuff, so that kind of got me thinking of why I got into college, and it was for like the apps and stuff. So I was like, oh, it's kind of a shame that I didn't get to like, explore it or do any of that, but we had an elective. It was like an app development elective, and it was really cool. I got to like it was like the Android Studio, and we got to do a couple projects with that. So we did like a calculator one. We did like one where it's like you upload to AWS and you get to like pictures and stuff for like, I think it's like to detect whether somebody has cancer or whether it was like a mole, because it was a biology course as well. So that's where like the health stuff came in. But one of the projects we got to do is like a little game. It was like very similar to Flappy Bird, but a little different. So like Flappy Bird, you get to like stuff's moving at you, gotta like move through it pretty much. But this one, you're just kind of still and stuff's going like back and forth, and I got to tie everything back together because in that one you got to like figure out how to put stuff in. So the idea was originally to do it on Mario, but I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it on Kirby. So I got from the Sprite Resources website the Kirby assets for the original like Dreamland and Adventure. So I got Kirby. He was like going up in there. You got like a Waddle Dee going from the side. You got to avoid the Waddle Dee. In the background was like the Kirby Dreamland one. So that was a really cool project, and I loved it. So I wanted to really dive in this time to like game development, and that's where I got Unity, and I downloaded Unity. And at the time as well, I was also doing like I had a membership to Skillshare, so I used that to like kind of like find some introductory courses, and they were pretty good. It was pretty starter ones. So the first one I did was like a race car one. So you got to code and make this like little race car. It's called Motor Rally. So this one I actually did for a creativity class. It was like my final project. So I got to finish the game, and the game was pretty cool. It was like a car. You were like moving, and you gotta like avoid hitting obstacles and like people. So. And you're supposed to do it as long as possible. So it's like one of those like endless games kinda, and the game ends when you like hit enough people and lose all your lives. So I wanted to like twist it as much as I could, so I did the opposite, kind of like one where your goal is to hit people and you get points and stuff. And then I just did like different characters, which was just the speed at a different like number, so you had like a different feel to it, and it was pretty fun. That was a fun project. I got to do a funny video, which I have on different channels, a more one I don't use, but it was a fun video. Probably put like a clip or two to show it.
Motor Rally! Hi, my name is Car McBlar. Do you want a car but don't actually want a car? Motor Rally!
And yeah, that was that project. And then I was in the summer, and I just wanted to go back in and do more. So I did another one in the Skillshare, which was a puzzle game. This one I really liked doing. It was like you'd use the Kini assets to make like a puzzle game where you take objects and you move them based on like where you like drag, and based on how you drag the mouse, it would like move it more left and right. So that one was pretty fun as well. I got to do a bunch of different things. I really tried because I had more time than with the semester, where it's just like you have to finish for the end of the semester and do like all these other stuff too. So this one, it was like my own free time, so I got to like really go in, and I was doing like cannons, and they made them fire using like a little code, and this like fireball, if you touch the fireball you have to restart. I did like different modes, so like one was like a timed one, so it'd be like an enemy ship and it would go, and if you like didn't get to the guy in time, the enemy ship would, and you have to restart. So that was a really fun project I got to do. I think it's still on, not like itch.io, which I use now, but Unity Play, I think it is. It was like a WebGL game. That one was pretty fun. I haven't played it in a while, so I'll probably play it for like getting footage to edit this, but so that was pretty fun. And then the next thing I ended up doing was Unity's Create with Code course, and that one was like a bunch of prototypes to kind of get you introduced to like coding within Unity and like all the different things like within it. So there was like different themes. The first week ended up being like a car one, where you like had imported these like car assets, and you made like a 3D kind of like an obstacle course where you're supposed to go, and if you touch something you would like slow down. So that one I really got to like, because that was the first week I had like the most time, like really delve in and try to do different modes. I did one where it's like you're racing against the CPU, so it's like it cuts the screen a little bit and there's two cameras and you race against like either a computer or like a second player, although you had to use the same like a keyboard, so I don't know how intuitive that was, but it was pretty fun. You got to like race against them, and I made it so like the two race courses, the gap wasn't too like big, so you can like drive over and then just try to hit the other guy and stuff. And I didn't really know how to design like pathways, so the UI for not the UI, the AI for the computer, it just goes in a straight line, but it hits a lot of stuff, so it slows down and you can catch up and try to beat him. And then I did the obstacle course for that one where you're driving and you hit something and it restarts you. And then I try to do like a more ambitious like free mode where there's like a bigger thing and you can just kind of drive around and see like a bunch of wacky things like a car, and then like a car hitting stuff and stuff flies around because there's no like I want to say gravity or no weight to them, so they can just fly around. So I think that one was pretty goofy. And then yeah, that was the first week we did that package, and that was my more like probably expansive one out of the couple ones we did. And then the second one was like a farmer game where you're like a little farmer and you like move side to side and you can like shoot chickens with apples in order to feed them, and they're like continuously spawn. So the idea was to get them to spawn from the sides and I think from the top as well. So you gotta like shoot, and if you miss them you like lose lives, and once you lose all your lives it restarts. So that was the second project. The third project was I forgot. The third week's project was one where it's like an endless runner, so you're like I think it was the same farmer guy, but you're like just running and jumping over stuff that the idea was to get like stuff to like infinitely spawn and keep the background like continuously moving with the camera. So that one was a pretty fun one to do. And then the fourth week we did one where it was like there's an arena kinda and you're like a ball and you gotta like control. It was like a different control scheme, like you're rotating I think the camera or the actual like spear, and the ball moves around it. The control is very finicky, or at least my version of it. I don't know if I coded it the best, but it was very finicky, so like you would move and fall off a lot. But the idea was you're supposed to like other balls would follow you, and then you would have to try to knock them off, or they would knock you off, and there'd be like cool power-ups and stuff like a super strength and you would hit them, or like a speed one I think it was, or one you could like fire stuff, although that one I didn't get. I wasn't able to get that one working in the week, but that one was a pretty cool one, even though the one my ended up version ended up being like a little more finicky and stuff. But that was the fourth week. And then the last one was like a Fruit Ninja game, so you have the background stuff would be falling down, you'd be controlling like the mouse, and you could slice things using like the fruits. Obviously like the bombs would like kill you and stuff. And that one you could make like different modes or different difficulties, so that one's pretty cool to make. And I think you could also do like the sound as well and like mute the volume and stuff. So that was it for the Unity Create with Code. I got to learn a lot doing Unity's Create with Code projects, so I got to like expand my knowledges, and especially by coding stuff. It's been a while, so I don't remember exactly everything, but I remember it was pretty like influential. And the next project, which was because I had more free time, I wanted to go back and make like something that was a little more expansive as I was learning a lot. So the next one ended up being a platformer, which goes back to my original idea, because I wanted to make a platformer, which were the games that I really like to do. And so I used like the coding stuff I knew, like a little bit more about like the movements and stuff of coding. So I got that one pretty far in the time that I did. It was like 1 month kinda that I spent on it. But it was very finicky, so while I was able to get stuff like working, like jumping and stuff, and platforms that were like solid, there would be like glitches where like you could walk and like collide through the platform. Although it is pretty fun. I played it actually a little bit to get footage for a different video, but it was pretty fun, and I'm really happy with some of the stuff I got to do, like collecting stuff. I got to do like hearts where you like increase your health and stuff. And I obviously want to do different modes again, so I did like a 2-player racing one where You race the other player to the end, and then it's like a score-based one. Whoever gets the higher score wins. But I try to add like different things. So like if you got there first, you get like a bonus like point score and stuff. And that was a really fun one. Or if you die, you like reduce your score a little bit. That was really fun to implement. And I try to go like a little ambitious. Like at the end, I wanted like a little boss fight, but it wasn't implemented the best way. So like the boss is very like he moves back and forth and he spawns stuff, but you can like jump on it and jump on him and shoot, but you could only shoot one way because I didn't know how to do it the other way. So it was pretty experimental. It was really fun to do, but there was a lot I could obviously improve on if I want to make like a true platformer stuff. So that's where I got into my next stuff, which was the Master of Art program, and that one I got to do a bunch of different projects for it within my classes. One of them ended up being like a Mario clone. A lot of it was within a Corgi engine, so it was a little different than coding on your own, which was pretty good because I got to do like a lot of different like I would say more professional stuff because Corgi engine has like a lot of this stuff for it, so it's like a lot more solid of a base than like obviously coding on your own. So I got to do a lot of those projects like the Mario, trying to replicate Mario's 1-1 within Corgi engine. I got to do my forest game, which I talk about in a different video. And then I got to do some other mini projects. We did like a coding class as well. So that one I got to do a lot of projects for in the class. So for the class we got to do one where it's like a rollerball game. You're a ball and you roll. And that one I try to do because we had to try to do our own mechanic or idea and stuff. So that one I want to do like a weight one, so you can like collect different medals and get heavier and then like defeat things. I was really inspired by like Katamari Damacy, where you're like collecting things, you get bigger and stuff, you can defeat more different things or collect more different things. So this one I did, but where you're defeating different things, you can break walls and the screen would shake and stuff. That one was really fun to implement. The second one we did for that course was like a space shooter. So that one, my idea was to try to do like a bunch of different weapons. So you would have like the 3-way shot and what's it called, like a power up that would be like a laser that would destroy stuff. So that one I got to do, and it was like a revival of, actually funnily enough, one of the early ones I did, which was the one in high school, which was Galaga. This one was also pretty much like a Galaga type game, and you got to do different enemies too. I did like one where it was like ambitious, it was like a UFO, you would like move around and stuff. And that one was a cool project. What was the third one? The third one was the Simon Says game. So on that one you had different buttons in the UI, you had to click on them as they kept going. But I didn't really have an idea to expand it based on Simon Says, but I really wanted to do, I was really thinking of like WarioWare and those like very short like mini game things. So I wanted to make it so you would get like a certain score within the thing and then go on to the next mini game and do like a bunch of those. That way I can like expand and like learn a bunch of different things. And I thought it was pretty good. I got to make like a bunch of different mini games. Some of them I made were ones I knew I can make. So that like ship game I talked about before, where you move it, I pretty much did a different version, like different assets, but like similar to that one, where it's like a puzzle game and you got to get the guy to it and then you move on to the next game. Then I did other ones where I thought you could do like a click game, where you had to like click and get your like whack-a-mole, get your different score, or different things would appear and you would have to move and avoid them. It was a void game. Other ones I thought I could, because we had like I think a week or two to work on them, so I wanted to get like a bunch as much as I could, but I did try to expand. So the ones that I did were a little more complicated, was like a matching card game. So that one was tough because I had to learn about like nulls and stuff and how to get like the cards to like detect when it was like 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. When it would go. But that one I wanted to do it where it's like random every time, but I didn't get that far, but I got it working, which is good. And then the last one, it was the more ambitious one. I said before, one of my favorite games is Metal Gear Rising, and I wanted to make like, because in that game you do like a blade mode and like the camera rotates, so it's like kind of it's not 2D, but it's like kind of 2D where the camera will rotate the blade and then you'll like cut and stuff. So I really wanted to make the idea of having like that type of thing where it rotates, and then when you click on it, you can like cut on the pattern or whatever, and you'd have to do like that a couple times in order to like complete the mini game, maybe like with a time limit and stuff. But I got the thing moving, but I didn't really get it working in time where to like cut something and detect like the different, like I guess squares or box colliders. That one I didn't get working, but I did get like the movement, which so was kind of halfway done. But the other mini games were good, and then I just included that as like the end, as like a congratulations, you did it. So that was the third one, mini game collection. Then the fourth one we did was like an RPG battle. So it had the RPG like initial setup done, and you had to add like a mechanic or something to it. This one I got inspiration from another game I played in my childhood, the Kirby games I said I really liked, but one I played a lot was towards the end of the DS's life. It was Kirby Mass Attack. And that game itself has like a bunch of Kirbys you play as, but the thing I got inspired by was it had a bunch of mini games, and I really loved these mini games a lot more than some of the other Kirby games, because those ones I guess were a little more simple, but I was really drawn to this one, and particularly they had like an RPG battle one. So in that one you like Kirby and you gotta like get experience points to get more Kirbys, and you fight different enemies based on like the timing. So on touch screen it'd be like a bunch of different things that would like it'd rotate like this, and you had to tap in order to get like a perfect or good or a miss, and then they would hit you. So I thought it was a really fun idea. I thought it was a really fun mini game, so I wanted to try to implement that type of thing where you could like it would like move, and based on like when you click it or when you like tap the button, it would then either attack like a high attack or like a low attack. And I wanted to also implement like, because I was really playing like Devil May Cry and those types of games where you like get combos and stuff, so I wanted to make it so you could like get like an energy bar, and then once you fill up the energy bar you would like be able to like do a super attack or something, some really powerful move in order to beat them quicker. So like kind of like rewarding if you're better at the game, and then like being able to defeat them quicker and potentially move on. So that was a fun one to implement. That one really tested my what's it called, coding stuff, because I had to work with like the different, I think frames, or I forget what Unity uses, if it's like frames or the timing of the animation. I think it was more timing of the animation. But that one was cool to implement, and I got to get it working where you like get a bonus if you like hit it perfect time, and then you get to fill up the meter a little more and use those special attacks. So that was the last one of the prototype projects we did for that course. And then for the last real project that I haven't really talked about besides my bigger ones like the Forest game I did a video on, or those other Unity itch.io games that I've done, was one that I did for my educational course. It was one on storytelling. So that one we got to come up with like a group and do different storytelling things. So we did like one that was kind of like Avatar, where it's like the 4 nations and they're like fighting each other and stuff. But I wanted to do like, for that final project we had to do like teaching something. So I decided to take those like characters from the world building, put them quickly into Unity, do little pixel arts for them, and then do it like a little educational quiz type game. So you would go talk to the different like people from the regions, and then they would ask you questions. And the idea was to teach like kind of growing a plant and different things without a plant. It's very hastily done. But yeah, so we got to do that one, and then at the end it plays like a little animation. Very simple, very fun, and kind of cute. So that was the last of the projects I guess I got to do. And then I did like the other ones I did videos on, because those were more, I guess, substantial or bigger project. The Forest game, Geo game, my Caterpillar Adventure game, the Click to Move game, and some of the other game developments that I'm probably going to do before this video comes out or within the future. So I'm really happy about looking back at my game development journey. It's quite a lot. I didn't think it was as much at first, but then I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh wait, yeah, I did this one when I was really young, or I did this in high school, and then I did these game development projects. So I think it's really interesting to look back on and talk about them, because you really see like everything that inspires you and how even those projects like help you grow as like, I guess, a game developer, or even as like a person and stuff. So I'm really happy. I'm really happy to hopefully be able to create more games and stuff, and probably in a few years or something, or a few months, even look back on those projects and be like, oh man, I got to grow and do these other things. So It was pretty fun. Hopefully it was interesting to view. And yeah, that's about it. All right, bye-bye.